Yeah, DQ. Check. Have you ever had a dream in the daytime? Had the same dream since the playground. If you made it come true, cause you stay down. Nigga, have you ever really thought about the limelight? In a room full of stars when you shine bright. I'ma make the right move when the time right. Alright. Nigga, have you ever had a dream during the daytime? Had the same dream since the playground. If you made it come true, cause you stay down. Nigga, have you ever really thought about the limelight? In the room full of stars when you shine bright. I'ma make the right move when the time right. Calculated every step, so I can't stand a hater out here hating on. Niggas out here making moves. See a hand out the type of shit they waiting on.
Playing maze, system water bottles and Gatorade. Got a lot of niggas want me to fade away. Dedicated, keep my game sharp as a razor blade. Day to day, with my gold teeth in the tailor fade. Playing maze, system water bottles and Gatorade. Got a lot of niggas want me to fade away. Dedicated, keep my game sharp as a razor blade. Day to day, with my gold teeth in the tailor fade.
As I'm rolling this blunt up, I sit and think about the come up. Hit your chick with that lumber, she somewhere deep in the slumber. I ain't Stevie, no wonder. I had a pocket list. When you pimp, it's a hit or miss. Vernacular snapping, she breaking bridges to get a kiss. Look what done happened. Her nosy friend and got in a mix. She know I'm a hitter too. If she tell him, I plead the fifth.
Playing maze, system water bottles and Gatorade. Got a lot of niggas want me to fade away. Dedicated, keep my game sharp as a razor blade. Day to day, with my gold teeth in the tailor fade. Playing maze, system water bottles and Gatorade.
Good evening, good evening. This is T.M.I Media back at it again. Hopefully everybody's calmed down from all that Kendrick Lamar euphoria, losing their absolute minds over mid beats and great raps. But this is episode 1 of the Money Wine BDSM presented by Logic, T.M.I, and Friends, sponsored by KUSHCUMBERS. KUSHCUMBERS is a product created by DQ. I'm going to let him speak a little bit about it in a second. I see we got DQ in the building. Go ahead and shout yourself out and talk a little bit about your product.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy DQ Hampton in the building. Come to support my brother Logic in this brilliant endeavor we got going. Shout out to my T.M.I fam, Brads and Hits. But yeah, KUSHCUMBERS is one of my products, y'all. It is Kool-Aid THC infused pickles. So basically it comes with many different flavors. You will get high, you will enjoy yourself, and it's a nice little southern treat that I put a nice little twist to. So yeah, coming to you real soon. Once you get the orders on deck, T.M.I all today, KUSHCUMBERS, baby. But yeah, we sponsoring this little episode today.
Endeavor.
Nice. We got Hits in the building. Go ahead and speak your speech.
What's up, everybody? Glad you all can join us. Again, we're here to support our brother Logic in his new podcast program, the first of many. Big shout out to DQ, Brass, and let's go. I'm here.
Brass.
The long-awaited illustrious show that we've been trying to put together for a while, Logic. So we'll get a bit into the backstory in a little while, but I'll give Logic a chance to introduce himself before we get into the content of the show. Introduce yourself and the young lady that's with you.
This is Mari. Somebody I've become very familiar with. Whose company I really enjoy. So you know, we're gonna kind of be able to give a little bit more of an in-depth view to our personal stories, as far as like how we got into BDSM and some of the benefits that it actually provides, right? Like some of the actual structure or some of the some of the categories that feel like I definitely feel like I benefit from. I'm sure she's going to be able to share some of her own personal things, and a lot of this on purpose was a little bit, it's not scripted, right? We've talked briefly about maybe some subjects for us to get into and not get into, but as far as like, have we, gone over the material and the answer to the questions, I wanted that to actually be authentic, so the audience can kind of get the real feel of actually what we're actually saying, and maybe just like a day in a life for a person who believes BDSM is actually healthy.
Okay, introduce yourself, young lady.
Maria Rollins. I'm from Orlando, Florida. I'm currently a student, and a little bit about myself. I love to dance and house dance. I BDSM.
What'd you say? You were breaking up. What'd you say?
Oh, I'm a house dancer. I happen to be into BDSM.
Okay. You happen to be into BDSM.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
It's not something that I would say I need, but it's something that I like to explore too. So.
Okay. So let me tell y'all a funny story to the chat, right? To the viewers. So about 2 months ago, when me, Hits, and DQ was setting up this company, Logic came to us with an idea. And in that idea, he said, I saw that y'all did DQ's book. And we were having a little conversation in the Discord. And he said, yeah, I know y'all did the book, but, do y'all do other people's book ideas, such and such? He said, nah, we hadn't really considered it, but, what's your idea? Yeah, if you want us to help you with it. And the man said, I got a book, and the title's going to be Money, Wine, and BDSM. I literally was like, I actually am disappointed in my full-grown self, because I'm sitting there giggling like a school child. Like, what is Logic on? I thought he was joking at first. And then he was like, no, I'm dead serious. And I was like, okay, explain. And he went on about a 13 to 14-minute diatribe, an actual concise explanation of BDSM, where the money comes in, where the wine comes in. I think sex was in the title too. And he was saying where all of these things came in. So I said, all right, go ahead. I'm interested. And then as he kept going on, DQ asked some questions, Hits asked some questions. And then I said, you know what? I think this would be good content. And I think as long as we respect it, present it in a concise way, and actually dive deep into what the topic actually is, and not just the stuff you see in the books, the 50 Shades of Grey and all of those kinds of books. Like, we actually get into it. So I'm interested. I'm all the way in. We have goals and plans to do a lot of stuff. And then y'all also got to remember the person that said it was Logic. So I'm sitting there like, okay, yeah. And he doesn't play around when he's talking about things, when he explains things. So I'm all for it. So we're going to get right into it, unless Logic or matter of fact, not Logic, unless DQ and Hits, y'all want to say something?
No, I appreciate the brother, for coming over here to share his story with us. It's a intimate topic. It's personal. And I think he trusted us to help him with it. And I do appreciate that. And just to let him and the young lady know that we're here to support them. So we're here for you. We appreciate
Okay. So I'm going to crack this off. All puns intended. Introduction to BDSM. So now most people, when they hear about BDSM, they think that it's like some kind of catchphrase or something like that. What does BDSM actually stand for? What does it stand for?
Bondage, discipline, submission, bondage, discipline, dominance, submission, sadomasochism. Those are that's the entire acronym of BDSM. Sometimes I forget sadomasochism because
you got to scoot over a little bit. Scoot over a little bit to the left. You're outside the camera.
You or her?
You.
Yeah, so I feel like, say when you talk about sadism and masochism, you're almost talking about personality traits, not necessarily BDSM. It's almost like the two extremes of just personality traits. And maybe BDSM may provide a healthy space for people who indulge in sadism and masochism to maybe find a safe place to do it in. Um, so those are important letters, but I think it's a whole lot more about the dynamic and the power exchange between dominance and submission. And it's a place where you are instantly reminded that how much you need to respect both of these roles, right? And how much care needs to be in both of these roles. In the way I would describe it, as a person who was introduced to BDSM as a dominant, when you're talking about, when you think about the dynamic as a power exchange, comes from both people. Exchange comes from both people, even if you are dominant and have a dominant personality, and even if dominance comes natural to you, you still need someone to be willing to submit to you and are respectful to your role in the BDSM environment. It's very important to be very respectful and very cognizant of the role of the person submitting to you. And so it's almost like it kind of sort of equals the playing field, because it literally gives the person who is in the role of the submission the actual power to say, to pull back and actually give them the consent to say, no, this is too far. Actually, we can set limits to how you want to be dominated, or what form of submission that you're actually comfortable with.
In safe words.
In safe words, and things like safety and consent are always at the forefront and paramount. You look at the 1 and 2 when you're talking about safety and consent. So.
And what about you, young lady? And say your name again. Just your nickname. Say your name
Mari.
to the crowd again. Mari. Okay, so Mari, what is your introduction to BDSM, the world of BDSM? What's your introduction to it? Y'all are a little frozen. Logic, do me a favor. Take that background off, because I can't see y'all at all.
Well, now is that better?
You could take the blur off too. It's just
That's
not
good.
picking up for some reason.
All right.
Okay, that's much better. Okay, so young lady, what is your introduction to the world of BDSM? Can't hear.
It started. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
I started in college. I actually met this open couple. They were into BDSM scene. I wasn't really into it as much as they were, but I was just into exploring. And then I really got into it basically last year. I got into it.
Okay.
What do your families think about it?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
in general, and those who know, the family members who know, like in general.
My family does not approve.
Not at all.
It's pretty taboo still.
Y'all might have to come closer, because it's only picking up like every other word.
Yeah, I think she's a little too far.
Just speak a little louder.
Yep. There you go.
Yeah. So I mean, as far as my family, man, I mean, I'm pretty limited with my access that I give to people anyway. So I'm definitely one of those people. I could care less, what they think of me doing BDSM. I just, I would say, just to try to properly answer that question, it's more my priority to understand how to do BDSM in a healthy way, right? So with that being said, as long as that's my priority, I wouldn't really care about how someone feels about my interest in BDSM.
Brass, I got one more quick question, and then you can get back to your list.
Okay.
that would lead me into what are some of the major misconceptions that people have, like just one or two major misconceptions, even
But it's
you,
always
even something you may have, had a misconception about and then found out otherwise.
that it's extremist and it's always rough or violent. BDSM is not always rough or violent. It can be soft, it can be sensual, it can be what you want it to be. You just have to like talk about your boundaries and what your likes and dislikes. So that's what I would say. I think when they think of BDSM, they just think of the extreme.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Right. So when you say extreme, it's not like what you see about Lash. It's not always the stuff you see in pop culture about it.
Absolutely,
yes.
absolutely not. Right. Let me
Right.
try to add some little details to it. Right. As a matter of fact, when you really get specific about BDSM, it's really not even all sexual. And I think most people would be surprised by an answer like that. But there are a lot of people who engage in BDSM relationships and they have nothing to do with sex. Just for for purposes of the environment, I don't think it's really necessary to go into detail about some of those relationships. But you can absolutely be a dom and a sub and not have sex. You can absolutely be a daddy and a little dom. I mean, in a little scenario to where they're not having sex. There are many people who get together that are in real relationships and get together with their BDSM playmate and don't have sex. A lot of times, a lot of people use it for a particular release. They may be in their current situation, and they have a woman or a husband that defers to them more often than they're comfortable with, and they may seek out another personality to be able to express this other side of them with, and provides them comfort, and it doesn't have to be something sexually related. That's a huge misconception, right? Because I think a lot of times when you may hear about some people talk about BDSM, and they will describe it as a potential buffet for fetishes. And it can be that, but it's not.
Right.
That's not the entirety, or that's not even the whole point of BDSM. It's really not. If that's all you think it is, you're absolutely missing the point of BDSM for sure, big time, like big time.
So let me try to grasp this before I go into my next question. So, Logic, you would be considered like a dominant, right? That has a submissive person. But if I'm not mistaken, Mari, you're sometimes a submissive person who is now kind of exploring the world of being dominant with someone else. Am I saying all of that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so in as short as you can, Logic, explain uh the role of a matter of fact, real quick, how long have you been doing this, Logic?
Somewhere in the neighborhood of about 3 years.
Okay, so 3 years. And you, Mari?
A year. I'm
About a
still
year.
fresh, still new.
Okay, cool. So, Logic, real quick, concise. What would be a definition of a dominant person without getting us banned on YouTube?
Right. The very first thing, most important thing, is a person who is competent enough in being dominant and yet like compassionate enough to understand that the sub has needs and limits, right? So you can have a lot of different kind of doms. Me myself, I would kind of be like more in the middle, right? I'm certainly not on the extreme sadist side. I'm certainly not on the extreme soft side. But so what I mean by that is like
So you're
how
a
does it?
So you're a Democrat.
I'm a Democrat. I'm a Democratic dominant. Absolutely, right. So for me, I definitely approach it with a lot of compassion, right? I definitely approach it with asking repeatedly, asking repeatedly, are you okay? Is this too far? I'm absolutely one of those kind of people. I wouldn't be under the category of a limit pusher, of a person who constantly wants to. I want to see how far I can take you. not really my jam, right? I kind of want to be a real intense listener and figure out what your needs are, figure out what your desires are, what your limits are, and just be respectful for that. So like that's more of like how I approach it. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's more. I feel like that's a healthy way for me to be able to express it, and I think it's really beneficial to anybody that I'm actually dealing with, and that's the experience that I would want to give anybody. You know what I'm saying? So
Now, Mari, you as a submissive, what does that entail? Kind of playing off what Logic just said. What does that entail? You gotta speak up. The mic's not.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
It entails like having open communication, and trust is a big thing, and talking about your desires and your wants and your dislikes.
Right.
Also, I'd say have to learn that person so you feel safe surrendering control and like just letting go.
Mm-hmm.
A little while to like really get there, because the first dominant I really had, it was a negative experience.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of like took advantage of my submission, and I didn't use safe words. We didn't have communication, so it was.
Were you always a sub? You've never been in a position, because I know you're going into being a dominant.
Yeah,
now.
mainly a sub. I'm a switch, which means I'm both submissive and dominant, but I'm mainly a sub.
So now why are you going? Why per se would you say that you're going into being a submissive?
I like relinquishing control. I don't like.
I mean, no, I apologize. I asked the wrong question. What makes you? Why would you be going into being a dominant? I'm saying now.
I like humiliation play.
Okay.
I'm actually talking to this lawyer, and I think he likes escaping from his duties as a lawyer.
Okay.
I guess that's the way to put it. And I like it because it gives me a sense of power, because I was actually sexually assaulted. It's a way for me to take my power back.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that also.
Thank you. It was consensual between me and the sub that I'm dominating. Mm-hmm. But it's still like something that I'm learning to do, because I'm not used to being in a dominant position, but it's very fun, like so far.
Okay. Now we're going to go into the challenges and rewards of it. So for you, not you, Logic, for you, what are some of the challenges and the rewards of navigating kind of both areas, like being a sub, being a dom? What are some of the challenges that take place with that? And DQ and hits, if y'all got any questions at any point, just let me know.
For me, the challenges would be I'm a brat, which means I don't always submit. You gotta kind of force me to submit in a way sometimes, because I want to see how dominant you are. Like, I kind of don't like seeing, this is bad, but I wouldn't say bad, but in BDSM, I don't like seeing your weak spots. So I'll try you or push your buttons.
Okay.
To see. It's just like a little game for me. I'll say the challenges is actually just submitting off rip and just being like, yeah, okay. Because it's kind of hard for me to always relinquish control, and it's just like a trust thing, honestly.
Okay.
But I'm learning to trust him more. Like, yeah, so I'm learning. He's very sweet dom. It's just different types of doms. Like, you have.
Say that one more time, but say Logic's name. Do me a favor. Say that one more time.
With Logic.
Logic is a very what? No. What'd you say? You said Logic.
Logic. He's a soft dom. He's a soft dom. And
we're never gonna let him forget it. I just want you to know we're never gonna let. We're
trying to get sound bites over here.
Yeah, it's all good. Yep. It's all good.
That's right where you want to be.
He's really a good dom. I'm getting nurtured and cared for, and I feel safe. But it took me a moment because my last dom, he was very sadistic. He's very cold and aloof, and that's not something I was looking for. So a while to adjust to Logic. Not a while, but like a little bit of time to adjust to Logic. And once I finally did, I realized in BDSM, I realized that you are worthy of like getting taken care of and getting like shown love and stuff like that. So it's just, I don't know. Education is a big thing.
So let me ask you a question. So do people go into this for violence? Like, would you say that people?
Yes,
I know you're presenting like the more the positive thing of it, but from what I'm hearing, based on your answers and Logic's answers, that sometimes there are people that might have like a violent side, people that are trying to kind of exercise the kind of demons they have with their own sexuality or violence against women, stuff like that. So they do stuff like that.
Yes, or ulterior motive. Like the last dom I had, I was just talking to him. I feel like, some people use ulterior motives for a different goal they have for themselves.
Right.
Like, because everything is energy. And I feel like when you're submitting to someone, you're giving them, in a way, a part of your energy, in a sense. Like you're releasing control and stuff like that. And I feel like they can use it in a different way to think about your feelings. They just think about their own feelings. And that's not like a dominant.
And that's not what it's about. That's not what it's
about.
Yeah,
that's not what it's about. It's supposed to be mutual,
Mm-hmm.
That's a good word.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would be a if you were to get really technical about it, that would be like a red flag. Mm-hmm. To be completely honest, it's like the ultimate compliment she can give me, right? Is that she can acknowledge that I'm actually listening to her. You know what I'm saying? And listening to her intently. So that's actually like the, that's exactly the sweet spot if there was one in BDSM, right? And when you're talking about the correct way to be a dom, it would absolutely be patient. It would absolutely be thoughtful. It would absolutely bring out all the proper emotions, and that is what makes it actually fulfilling, right? If you put it into an interesting way to say it, I am absolutely looking to take care or the person that I'm with to be in my care. I am responsible, in a lot of ways for taking care of this person who is, trusting enough to relinquish that power and allow me to have it over them. You know what I'm saying? So it's really the ultimate compliment. It's absolutely the sweet spot. And, to try not to make it too wordy, but, we've had these kind of conversations before off air, but I did have the good fortune of someone guiding me through some of these challenges, to where I could have the benefit of reaching out to somebody to actually tell me, hey, what's the right thing to do here? Mm-hmm. And these things have been, a huge.
Okay, real quick. DQ hits. Y'all got any questions? If not, I want to take a short commercial break. Once again, this is Tri Media Innovations. This is brought to you by KUSHCUMBERS, one of the products we have on the market. If y'all don't have anything, I'm going to go into a quick commercial.
Player made, system water bottles and Gatorade. Got it. A lot of people want me to fade away. Dedicated, keep my game sharp as a razor blade. Day to day, with my gold teeth in the paper fade. Player made, system water bottles and Gatorade. Got it. A lot of people want me to fade away. Dedicated, keep my game sharp as a razor blade. Day to day, with my gold teeth in the paper fade.
think about to come up. Hit your chick with that lumber, she somewhere deep in the slumber. I ain't Stevie, no wonder. I had a foggy list. When you pimp, it's a hit or miss. Vernacular snapping, she breaking bridges to get a kiss. Look what done happened. Her nosy friend and got in the mix. She know I'm a hitter too. If she tell him, I plead the fifth.
Player made, sister water bottles and Gatorade. Got me. A lot of people want me to fade away. Dedicated, keep my game sharp as a razor blade. Day to day, put my gold deep in the table fade. Player made, sister water bottles and Gatorade.
So we back in the building, and like I said, I want to be clear to everybody watching the show. You know, it seems like it could be something kind of crazy or this, that, and the other. But one of the things that I wanted to do was I want to treat this topic with some respect. One of the things, one of the things that I love about, like I say this all the time, is getting kind of cliche, but one of the things I love about this generation versus previous generations is the mental health aspect, the open sexuality, you know, people being able to speak their speak and live their truth. You know what I mean? And what happens is a lot of times, you know, illnesses come from that when you try to hide who you are, when you live a whole life being something else, and then you want to be, you know, inside, you know what you really want, but you live a whole life. I mean, I'm picturing women and men, right, that are submissive and dominant, and they're married to somebody who is nothing like that. And they literally, you know, now they have children. They're kind of stuck when they really want, this is what they want to do, but necessarily they can't get it out. So when I'm presenting this, or Tri Media is presenting this information, I want to also make people understand in the chat, like, you're not going to understand everything that we do. A lot of times you'll see it in a year from now. You'll figure out like, okay, that's where they were going. But one of the things for me is that when it comes to topics like this, especially somebody's relationships, somebody's sexuality, and what they want to do with their lives, if they are open enough to present it, then it's only right that we respect it. Y'all feel where I'm going with this? Okay, so cool. So we reached the 30-minute mark. We're going to be in here for maybe about another 30 minutes. I have a couple of questions. Also in the chat, we're going to take a couple of questions from you. This is not going to be one of those shows where we invite people up to the panel. Like I said, this is episode 1, Money, Wine, BDSM, presented by Logic and Friends, Tri Media Innovation, sponsored by KUSHCUMBERS. One of the things that I wanted to cover also was, what are some of the, and you being a black woman and you being a black man, right? Is there a, because I mean, I read 50 Shades of Grey. I'm gonna be honest with you. I mean, I'm comfortable enough to, you know, say it. And I saw the movie and part 2. So, you know, like I was telling you earlier, Logic, people are going to watch these shows, right? And I could pretty much picture how this is going to go. They're going to say, what the hell are they doing? Why are they doing this? Why are they having this conversation, right? But then what they'll say publicly is not necessarily who they are privately. So privately, they all have seen something and said, well, I wonder what that would be like. You know, things like that. So, or they say, man, you know, maybe they don't like it. It's up to them. But I like having conversations like this because this is real. This is somebody speaking their truth. So, as far as from the black African-American angle in that community, is it difficult? I'll go to you, Mari, first. Is it difficult to, what is there like a stigma based on race? Is it like white or black or Puerto Rican? Like, is it just an open thing based on sexuality? Or you as a black woman?
Never thought about that. That's a good question. I would say, is there a stigma? I feel like when you think of BDSM, some people might think white at first, but I don't think it's exclusively a white thing. I think it's just, it might just be alternative.
Okay, like a human. So would you say it's like a human thing?
Yeah,
because it's like a sexual. Okay, I can understand that.
Yeah.
So what do you?
Maybe just like something that's just alternative, like a different lifestyle, something you're into. But I don't think it's exclusive to race.
Okay, cool. What about you, Logic?
I think in reality is that we all practice BDSM in one way or another. and we may not practice it to the levels to where we are ready to structure these roles and put it into a context where it fits BDSM. But I feel like we do it all day, every day, right? So that was a not necessarily a surprise to me, right? Because my background is sales, and I did that for a very long time, and I realized, one of my managers told me one day, you're always selling and somebody's always buying, and it's true. That's a life thing. You know what I'm saying? Somebody's always being sold, and sometimes the person buying can actually get exactly what they want, and that is more of a communication barrier, and that is more of selecting the right salesperson barrier than it is what you're looking for is unusual. You know what I'm saying? So that was comfort that I wound up finding. Right? It was like finding a environment or a group of people who were more open to communicate about exactly what they wanted, rather than be, a little bit vague about it or a little bit apprehensive about it. It really just opens up a line of communication, and it's not unusual to ask somebody, how would you like to be dominated? Or how do you like to submit?
I don't think BDSM
Why
is.
do I feel like when you said, how do you like to be dominated? It's like, you was looking at me, right? So I kind of think
I'm looking at the
like when
computer screen.
yeah, because you made me like slightly nervous right there. To just bring the energy down a little bit. Your whole face changed. When you said, how would you like to be dominated? Your whole logic went out the window. You was like a whole nother human being. So no, I get where you're going. Okay, I get it. Well, would you like to say?
BDSM is in your the daily lifestyle. Like I think it's in business with power dynamics,
Right.
and dominance and submission,
Okay.
and at work there's a healthy level of submission to your boss, but you just have to keep in mind that like we're all just human too. Like the title isn't everything. I feel like I faced some negative consequences from BDSM because
Okay.
I had a former dom that was very sadistic,
Mhm.
and then everything became about power. Like I don't know, I'm pretty sure you know about the 48 Laws of Power, Robert Greene.
Yeah, I'm well
And
versed.
yes, and I just think sometimes there's a time and a place. Like I feel like it's advantageous to learn about power dynamics, but I feel like it can be easily manipulated.
Can be.
So that's
Definitely can
the
be.
scary side of BDSM, because if you don't know your boundaries, if you don't know your limits, if you're not communicating, then it can be a bad.
So let me ask you a question. That kind of leads. Go ahead.
Really saying, I firmly believe that the responsibility to dominate definitely belongs in the hands of a person who has good intentions.
Mm-hmm. But there's two sides of BDSM. There's people that do
There
it for
is.
a lifestyle, and people that do it just here and there.
Mhm.
Right.
That's when you get in difference between a slave and a sub. Like there's two different. It can be very dynamic. But you
It's
have to
interesting.
discuss.
It's interesting that you said lawyer. Have you ever seen a show called Billions?
No.
Okay. There's a show called Billions on Showtime. It's a fire show. It's literally about a billionaire, kind of playboy in New York. The guy who plays it is the guy. You ever seen the movie Dreamcatcher?
Hmm.
What is this guy? Hits, help me out. What is the redhead guy? Okay, wait, do you watch any Showtime at all? Because he's famous. He played a spy in Homeland on Showtime. But I'll get a picture of, I forgot his name, but one of y'all help me out with that. And he plays a billionaire, and there's a lawyer on the show that is him and his wife. It actually might be a good show to watch. Him and his wife he's like a powerful district attorney in New York, but his wife is the dominant in their relationship, and he's a submissive, and that's how he releases. So like all day long, he's about to go crazy. He's like about to lose his mind. He cusses people out all day long. But then when he goes home, he's like this submissive to his wife. When in all actuality, every criminal in the city of New York is terrified of this man. Now, when I saw that, I started thinking like, I wonder how many people where it's actually like that, like stuff that you wouldn't believe. And then now you're starting to see, you know, all these things come out about different crimes and all of that. And now it's kind of feeding back into the stigmas. So I thought even a show like this would be healthy to show that, like, you know, it's not always like that. I think what would be so dope, and I think like at the level of being married, when you reach a certain level of your marriage with your wife, not necessarily when Logic was describing it, there is a certain level of dominance and submissive just in a regular relationship, like not like a bond, not a BDSM relationship, but just like a relationship
Vanilla.
Areas. Yeah, like
vanilla.
Vanilla.
You learned that.
Exactly. where you would let your wife have, you know, she takes the lead on certain things, you take the lead on certain things, and then whatever y'all do in the bedroom is y'all business. But I don't know, Hits, DQ, if y'all got to say something. I got about 3 more questions and then I'm gonna wrap it up. I want to get into the safety aspect of BDSM in a second.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, like outside of general meeting new people and strangers in the process of going through that to determine just you know, if it's safe to be around people and vetting people, is there places and circles that you guys, you don't have to tell us those things in being specific, but is there like information that you can get that's actually helpful, or groups of people that you can deal with, so it's not just maybe having, you know, bumping into someone while you're out getting coffee or something? Like once you get involved with, you know, this, are there groups, are there places you go, are there sites you visit and things like that?
Yes, they have Reddit forums that I've visited, local, like Gainesville. You can look up different BDSM groups and they have like meetings and stuff like, and I'm from Orlando. They have a lot of they have a kink club in Orlando. You can go and do visits and meetups with people and stuff like that. I haven't gotten to that point yet of BDSM. Because for me, it's not a lifestyle yet. It's just something I'm exploring that I'm like into for right now. I'm not sure if I would make it a lifestyle, but I don't know. Would you make it a lifestyle?
That is classic.
I mean,
some people make it a lifestyle. Like BDSM is their lifestyle, but for me, it's just something I like to explore, venture out.
I don't think necessarily it's a lifestyle for me. I think it's a part of my life, and it's also like I think it's a part of the world that I happen to be able to categorize when I see it. I think I see it everywhere.
It's like an escape.
But you know what I mean by that is like I see it everywhere. Right? Like I see the dynamics.
Power dynamics?
I see these dynamics when I go to Walgreens. I see these dynamics
but there's a
when
difference
I go to work.
Between BDSM and power dynamics.
I mean, this is true. That wouldn't be, you're absolutely right. It wouldn't be considered BDSM, but I guess so for me, I see the dynamics when I go other places because of things that I've read and run across, to where I see the power exchange, I see the power dynamics, I see the energy exchange, I see it everywhere. But that really probably more so stems from my background in sales, to where I see it everywhere. Yeah, I would sometimes, man. You know, if you ever run across a really good salesperson, you might hear them say, "Sometimes I wish I could turn it off." But I can't.
Okay, well, I just want to let you know, I am literally where you are. I'm constantly looking. Whenever I see nothing but business opportunities. When I drive past a distressed lot, I see a business opportunity. My father taught me ABC, always be closing. You know,
always be closing.
Always be closing at every time. I think DQ probably gets irritated with me sometimes because he'll see like, okay, Braz, what do you see? And I'll tell him, and I'll be like, that's a different perspective. I think sales is, people think that, if you're not technically quote unquote a salesman, that you don't, that if your job isn't being a salesman, that you're not actually in sales. But in everything you do, you are in sales. When you're trying to get your kid to do what you want them to do, you're in sales. When you're trying to discuss with your wife, you're in sales. What we're doing right now, even though it's a conversation, but the reason why we're presenting it this way, we're doing this live on YouTube versus private in the voice chat. Right now, like I told you, Logic, the more I see, the more I hear about the topic, I'm already seeing Patreons and OnlyFans and books and podcasts. I envision this after 100 episodes getting sold to somebody and we reaping the benefits of that. And one of the things I'm glad that I could do for you is that you in the quote unquote community that we talk to, even being persuasive, like Adrian is saying, they're saying there's a place called Kinky Couture in New Jersey. I'm gonna go check that out. Hey, I'm persuasive. But that's really what it is.
Word like persuasive, you run into a real fine line between persuasion and like manipulation. See that, and I feel like that's exactly what I meant when I was starting to touch on. It's a thing. It's a thing that absolutely belongs in the hand of somebody who
knows what they're doing.
That has good intentions and knows what they're doing. Mm-hmm. Absolutely, it can absolutely be abused. Mm-hmm. Absolutely,
I was just talking to him about like people use BDSM for different reasons.
Yes,
I was talking about alchemy, magic, and money. I think that'd be a cool like topic maybe.
Yeah.
Because I feel like
what did you say? You said alchemy. Flush that out.
Alchemy, magic, and money. In the industry, like some people
really
subs to like release their negative energy onto.
Oh yeah, no, save that for another show. That sounds fire. That sounds fire. That sounds fire.
Episode.
All right, so let's get into. I know that is. Let's get into a couple last topics now. Thurman had a question. He said that he wants to go back. He thinks he missed what they said where BDSM take 30 seconds and just explain. He said I'm gonna have to go back. I think I missed where they said what BDSM is. So 30 seconds. 30 seconds.
30 seconds. I'm gonna start with what it is not. It is not a playground for people who have terrible habits and just depraved sexual desires. It is not that. It is absolutely a place where people, come to bring their fantasies maybe together, right, and figure out a way to do it in a very constructive and healthy way. And it's a lot more about communication, respect, and safety than it is about getting what you want, right? So I think as long as you maybe just keep that part of it in mind, and BDSM could be for you, right? Don't take the idea of it being a buffet for fetishes.
Yes.
I notice you keep using that term. Is that something that you've run across where there are people that are using it just as a buffet for fetishes? That's like the 4th or 5th time you said that. Okay. And it stands for what? You said bondage. Let me see if I'm right. Bondage, discipline, sadomasochism.
Bondage, discipline, dominance, submission, sadomasochism.
Okay. Sadomasochism. Okay. Google.
You know what sadomasochism is?
No. What is that?
Well, maybe we'll talk about that. Maybe that could be a show on its own.
Yeah, we can do a quick blurb on
it. Actually, each
codependency, right? When you look up codependency, you'll probably really see what improper use of BDSM looks like. You do not want a codependent. That is somebody who is absolutely misusing their power, right? You really want to be encouraging and empowering somebody else. I mean, I'm sure, Brass, you're in business. You absolutely know what that looks like when you're talking about. Yes, so that's the real That's the real deal, right? You that's what you're doing. You're leaving whatever situation you find better than where you found it.
Now let's get into safety real quick. What does safety look like? Like, how do you ensure how do you ensure the safety and consent in these interactions, right? And especially for you, Mari, with you switching roles now, with you being a sub and a dom at the same time, right? How do you ensure the safety? I know it's funny. The joke is pineapples. Just say pineapple,
Yes.
or whatever,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
But like,
Yeah.
how do you ensure safety? I know there's safe words, but what else do you do to ensure the safety of your partner when you're involved in this? Can't really hear you.
Outside of safe words, I would say just like discussing your fetishes or desires is the main thing. Really, is making sure you're on the same page, because in BDSM they have scenes.
In limits too.
Oh yeah, in limits. Yeah, in limits. They have scenes where we play out what we want to do, and just like planning that out. And I'd say safe words is like a big thing, honestly. Safe words and planning what you want to do. Because in BDSM we actually have like playtime, and then you plan out a scene. It's basically like role playing in a sense. And that's what I would say. But safe words is a big thing. And just talking about your limits, like you said.
Logic.
What's the question again? Let me make sure I'm answering the right.
Now, so you being a dominant, right? How do you ensure the safety in the interaction you have with your sub? How do you ensure that you have that it ends with a safe interaction?
Communication is paramount, right? It's definitely a place where you want to bring even the most at times the most vulgar of your desires to the forefront, and you want to be able to express them. And that doesn't mean necessarily you express them early, but you absolutely express them. The mesh of who you decide to deal with, play with, any of those things is paramount. A healthy respect for the other person's boundaries is really what it's all. If you're not willing to be patient with the other person's boundaries and their needs, you 9 times out of 10 you're not practicing BDSM. I can think of maybe some extreme examples here and there, but even those extreme examples revolve around consent. Like even those, like I'll give you one that I think is a little edgy, but it should keep us on YouTube. There's something called CNC play. There's something called consent non-consent.
Something called kink shame too.
There's something called kink shame too, right? Whereas if my kink can be so extreme that you try to attempt to make me feel like I'm less than human because this is the thing that I'm into, So there's all these different things that all revolve around respect and communication, right? And if you keep that at the forefront, then moving forward shouldn't be an issue,
right? It can be really hot, it can be kinky, it can be sexy, but you gotta make sure you're on the same page.
Definitely gotta make sure you're on the same page.
Because, like, for me, I don't like being degraded, but I was actually experienced that with the prior dog, which I didn't like. It's like you really have to be on the same page. As people can take advantage of it, like you said, with the bad habits. And just like putting it on you as a stress relief. Like, I'm not your stress relief.
Right. That's a great example of somebody just bringing their bad habits in attempting to call it BDSM, when really this is just a person who is.
They just want to live out their little.
They're just a sexual. They're just a sexual trying to work out their anger. And they're looking for a submission to take advantage of, and that's completely what it's not about.
Okay, so we got Go ahead.
I just got a question. Even though there's a lot of communication, you know, early on, that sounds like obviously it makes the relationship or the interaction clear because there's all of this communication, boundaries, safety uh, measures put in place. But we are still human. So, in one aspect, is it difficult to just like couples break up, boyfriends and girlfriends break up, um, co-workers fall out, is it difficult to leave these type of situations? And is it is it is it difficult to not catch feelings sometimes and keep it above
I'll go
board and of
first.
course
I'll go
that
first. It's very difficult. It's extremely difficult, actually.
I think the fetishes can be so unique. It's hard to find someone who's even willing to
It can
feel
be
that.
extremely difficult.
So you can get attached.
It goes both ways.
People think it's only the submissive that gets attached, but the dom can get very attached to their sub too.
Absolutely.
So
It's a you've almost created an environment. I ain't even gonna say almost. You have created an environment where your unique preferences are explored and welcomed by the person who is trusting you with these unique preferences. So this literally isn't something that you almost want to intend to do over and over and over again because your preferences are so unique, because your love language is so customized, because your experience has become so customized, and you finally get somebody that you're willing to let your guard down for, finally willing to get somebody that you're willing to trust with all of your kinks and fetishes, and that's willing to actually explore them and
to
be.
even share what your fetishes is.
It's for sure.
Yeah.
You know,
You might be shame,
and
you might feel shameful.
and the more extreme, the more the bigger that gap is. You know, it's both ways, right? Like you don't want to be without your sub, you don't want to be without your dom. This person knows your likes and dislikes, they know your play style, they know, you know what I'm saying, like they know when you're being a brat and not to take it too serious. They know when to, like, okay, let's bring in a little bit of punishment. They know when to be able to do all these type of things. Now it's an appropriate time for a spanking. You've already established all these cool things, and to start over with somebody else can be extremely difficult.
Yes, it can. Once you get used to it.
I totally understand. Like I think it makes the connection, especially when you're talking about intimacy, like it's like on another level times, I don't know. I don't want to say 100, but it's definitely at least times 10. I think so.
what
Is there? So would you say that there's no free will being exercised in this conversation? I'm just saying. I mean, because for those my last
Mari don't know what the hell y'all talking
Marcus
about.
in the
Thank you, Adrian. Thank you, Adrian.
Did Marcus put you up to
No,
this?
no,
man?
Marcus did not put me up to this.
Marcus, I got a point to get it. Marcus put you up to this, man.
No.
Shout out to my man
Because
Marcus, though.
Shout to Marcus. The last conversation that I had with you on a platform live was a debate about free will and compatibilism. And I'm listening. So when you talk, I always tend to frame certain things as, what is this? What is that? And now I kind of see how the two things kind of cross.
I would say that's probably the most dangerous part about it, yo. I didn't pick any of these preferences.
Right.
I didn't pick that. I didn't. I think that's maybe the most interesting and most fulfilling part about it.
Doms can also push your limits. They can get you into fetishes that you haven't been into, either if you have that communication.
It's possible. Let's see that.
If you want to try stuff, like BDSM can be very open.
What was there anything, maybe one or two things that you learned that you learned?
I had to get you
about yourself that carries outside of this into your personal life, into your work life,
Good point.
like that benefits you outside of this that you learn?
Yes, BDSM has helped me to become more disciplined, especially when it comes to finances. Like,
Oh, really?
yes, I have a
Why?
dom.
Flesh that out. Why?
About like patience, discipline. Like when they teach you discipline, you can become more disciplined in a way.
And it affect other areas of your life?
Yes, yes. Like
Right.
I had a
Right.
dom that was heavy on health and fitness,
So
and you
you
can have a
became
dom.
kind of healthier, big on health and
Yes,
fitness.
healthier. He
Okay,
helped
so
me
you
to
kind
stop
of take on the
smoking.
traits of the person that's the
Yes,
dom
yes.
also.
You
Okay,
can,
that's
yes,
fire.
yes.
So you're
That's
a
more so
compatibilist then.
style
You're
thing. You can be very.
No,
That's the extremist point
no,
to
no,
me.
no, no.
I knew.
What you're no, he called you a compatibilist. You know that.
Don't you involve her in all that.
What I
Well, I
to
feel like it's
clarify,
BDSM helps you
you're right.
elevate.
I get what you're saying,
Yeah.
and
but
that's when it's healthy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So to just to answer your question, Brad, because I think
mm-hmm,
you're actually asking it sincerely, right?
mm-hmm. I'm serious.
That is when it's done correctly. You know what I'm saying? Like
Fire.
that's
Fire.
when it's not a give and take, it's a give.
Yeah.
Fire. That's what I
Like
wanted to
that's
flesh out. And
in all seriousness. And you got me on tape saying that it should be a dom's responsibility to leave any situation they come into better than
leave
what
them
they
better,
find
like
it.
like a salesman. Like if you, when I go into a deal or I go into like, I look at negotiation different than other people. The negotiations for me are both people, as long as we both leave unhappy, then it was a good negotiation. That's what I was always taught. And I take that into, I'm just saying, I listen, because if you're leaving too happy and I'm leaving unhappy, it wasn't a good exchange. But if I won on some points and you won on some points and I lost on some points and you lost on some points and it ended up being more of like a thing where we got it done. I'm not 100% happy, but I'm good with it. And I'm not 100% happy, but I'm good with it. That's a great negotiation in regards to me. Or if I do go into business with a person, no, at the end of the day, no one will ever say, they might say, you know, I drove a hard bargain. I was a bit of a taskmaster. I was a bit of a person that would push you further. But when the interaction was over, no one will ever say, yeah, I was worse off for it. No, I got a lot of jewels. I got a lot of wisdom and I made money, or I didn't, but I didn't. It was exactly what it was supposed to be. And the business interaction just didn't work out. And I pride myself on that. So I understand. So like Marcus said, genes and environment, that's all. And we at least, I'm okay with it. That
Shout
is so
out to
fire. That
Marcus,
is so
man.
fire. Shouts to Marcus, bro.
Shout
I
out
appreciate
to
Marcus.
Marcus,
The
man.
archives. So
I'm glad you're here, Marcus, man. What's up, bro?
So I'm gonna I'm bringing it home. Like I said, you know, you're gonna have a lot of episodes. This is essentially the first episode of an interview with you and the
This has
young
been
lady
fun, man.
Amari.
I hope y'all have fun too, bro.
I got one or two more questions. And if anybody in the chat, if y'all have any questions, definitely before we get out of here, we'll be live for maybe another, I don't know, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Now, support systems. What kind of support systems do you have within the BDSM community as far as, because I know it's not like, yes, it's sexuality, things like that, right? But it's kind of like a niche thing too. And it's kind of private, kind of not private, right? So what kind of support systems do you have in the community?
Well, for me, right, I have the lucky benefit of having somebody who is there for me step by step.
Mm-hmm.
That's for me. That's my personal outlet as far as support. But there are always a bunch of places that are near where you're living at where you can go and find people who are more experienced, who are more technical, and be able to get some feedback from people who may even do this professionally, right? I think if anybody is even somewhat familiar with BDSM, they may have seen that movie 50 Shades of Grey, and he is a professional dom, right? He would be somebody who is collecting clients. He has
Like
people.
a hair?
he has people. No. He has people who he would consider his clients, right? I wouldn't consider anybody my client. I would be in the position of considering the few people I actually deal with in my care.
Right.
These people are in my care. Taking care of them in one way or another, and it's that's actually how I see it. You know what I'm saying? They may. You know, for whatever, there are definitely different types of DOMs and stuff. So for me, I have a very unique support system, and I also can obviously tap into these other support systems, and mainly the BDSM community is on FetLife, right? So you go on FetLife and you can find different events that include, you know, things like rigging. This is how you tie certain knots. How you do tie certain knots in certain positions. These are what they call munches. These munches are like social gatherings for people who are interested. For people who are interested in BDSM, where you can go out.
So that's like a play on the word brunch.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
These are people. These are like social events for people to come and talk and maybe meet new people who are in lifestyle. And there are other parties that they set up, and you know, most of them are all organized on FetLife. So that's where that's like the hub for BDSM.
Oh, no phones. So wait. You said there's no
like
phones?
some kink parties, they don't.
Most kink parties they say phones up front. Take your phone out of your pocket, so we could do whatever the hell we want to behind this curtain right here. That's not unusual.
So future aspirations. I'm gonna close on this unless the chat has any questions or anything like this. What future aspirations do you have? Like how do you see? I know you're a Amari. I know you are a sub that's going more into a dominant or being like a boss. You said it's like a switch. I remember you saying that, right? So what, for both of you individually, what kind of future do you see as far as your journey into BDSM? Are there other things that you're wanting to try? Based on like logic, you said you've been doing this for 3 years and you've been doing this for almost a year, Mari. What do you see as far as your future in this? Like, do you see this as something that you want to flesh out and go further? Or is this something that you want to kind of tailor more to you? Like you tell me based on your own experience. Can't hear you.
I like to explore my dominatrix side more. I like bringing men to my knees. Not all men, just certain type of men. Yeah. The submissive type, of course. And I like to feel worshipped and valued.
I noticed you started playing with your hair when you said that. See, like in sales, we're taught to understand cues. So that's why. Yeah. No, we are. So I noticed when you start. I noticed when somebody says a word, they smile, they turn to the left or to the right. They have an open pose versus a closed pose. And when you said you wanted to go into more being dominant, you started brushing your hair, you rubbed your shoulder, you smiled more. So okay, all right. So yeah, you're definitely. I just want to let you know. You're definitely fired up about bringing men to your knees to be able to dominate. I promise you.
Yes, we both know that. She's very excited about having her first sub as a dom. Yes. Very excited.
Right.
Very excited.
It's a different type of dynamic. Learning how to like dominate someone is different, but my sub is very understanding. And so we're just working throughout that. But I really like it so far because I am a brat as a sub, which means I don't always submit. You gotta force me to submit sometimes.
Oh, that's fire though. That's fire. See, like the nuances in these relationships, the different terms and stuff that I'm hearing, the nuances is what's kind of interesting because it's like I said, there's such a misconception. That's why I'm so excited to have the conversation and flush this out because the nuances in it and how different people interact what you guys have described in this past hour or so, it's so much different than what the actual stigma of it is publicly. And I know it's a private thing, but publicly it's portrayed as like, you know, people in cages and choking people and all this, that, and the other. Like I know a couple people died, right? A couple famous people died, and they were saying like they were in the middle of doing BDSM kind of things. I think it was it Gandolfino? Was it Sopranos? Was it the guy was Soprano? Like a couple people, they found them tied up and things like that. So you get these stigmas based on it. But the way you guys are describing it, it sounds like a relationship.
Crazy.
Yeah, it sounds like a relationship. It's something that you do in private. And it sounds like the same way you have public goals, you have private goals to flesh out the sexuality that you have. So I can appreciate that. So Logic, in closing, what are some of your future aspirations? I know this is only episode 1. We're going to get into some more things as we do more shows on this particular topic. And once again, for Tri-Media Innovations, we're here for, if you want to have conversations, if you want to get out into media and present things, that's what Tri-Media is about. If you have a good topic, you have a debate maybe you want to do, not necessarily like, you know, just like a conversation. We have silly conversations. We have rap conversations. This per se is something I want to treat with a little bit more respect, like I said. So we're actually going to fine tune how we discuss this topic. But, you know, send us an email, hit us in the back chat, and that. So Logic, in closing, what are some of your future aspirations as a Dom? Do you ever see yourself as a sub?
Today.
Absolutely.
Really? That's fire. That's fire. So what made you think of it that what made you?
I'm like a Janet Jackson type of Dom. I'm not very much to the heart.
Understand
Okay.
the roles, and maybe we should talk more about that if it makes.
We'll do it another show. Yeah.
Right? When you understand the roles, it's normal for everybody on the planet to demonstrate.
Yes, even in queer
a given
if you are on either extreme of being completely sadist or completely masochist, then typically you. What I mean by that, you know, is there are many situations, even some bedroom situations, where I could see myself relinquishing control under the right conditions. Absolutely. You know, that could absolutely be an enjoyable experience for me. So absolutely. So you know, to answer your question, as far as my future in BDSM, man, I feel like there is no future without BDSM. Oddly enough, I don't know how to really answer the question, because I relate it to sales. I relate it to life. I see the dynamic everywhere. I see certain situations where I come in and am playing or participating in a role that would be better defined as somebody submitting rather than somebody who's being dominant. When I go to, if my refrigerator breaks and I go to Home Depot and I ask the salesperson for a refrigerator, I'm playing the role of a submissive in some regard. I'm not telling the salesperson what's the best refrigerator for me. I'm telling the salesperson, hey, this is the refrigerator I need, and help me find the best one. And that's totally normal. So I feel like it's almost unescapable in a lot of regards, you know. And
I think that's more about humility too. You know, the answer more than
I think that's maybe like when you're talking about definitions, right? So I'm looking at it through the lens of maybe a person who sold cars, used cars in specific, for over 10 years.
Mhm.
So when I look at these transactions, these transactional occurrences or interactions with another person, sometimes it is very difficult for me to turn off what's actually happening.
Mhm.
And sometimes I see it that way.
Mhm.
And it's not because I want to, but because my training, I've like been trained in these certain situations to where I can't see it another way. Right. I feel like I am looking.
Because the power dynamic.
I go there looking for a person
Yeah,
competent.
that's the perfect
and
word. Power
confident.
dynamic.
Mhm.
I'm go there looking for a person who's competent and confident
Mhm.
to guide me into buying the correct
I
refrigerator.
think that's the next thing y'all should talk about next part.
It-
Power dynamics.
It's definitely
I think there's
definitely
a
under.
difference between BDSM and power dynamics.
You think so? Okay, I think they're a lot closer
I mean,
related than.
They're related, but I don't think it's the same.
I think they're a lot closer related than I want them to be. Straight up.
Yeah.
Or maybe I wish they weren't as closely related. But
Yeah.
yeah, man. I mean, to answer your question, you know, I think BDSM is like layers to a lifestyle, right? But I think we all participate in it in some way or another, whether we realize it or not. And when you think about it and you actually really understand what BDSM and you understand it's not all sexually related, BDSM is a part of everybody's life.
Yeah, I had a dom where we didn't even have sex. It was just strictly dominance and submission. So it's not always about sex.
Definitely not always about sex.
Sometimes for me, it was the mental activity that got me turned on, like sexual tension and the mental aspect of it, just the sexual.
For sure.
Okay. So with that, we're gonna wrap for tonight. Like I said, it's just an episode 1. We're gonna flesh this out. Like I told you, I see a whole bunch of stuff coming from this, and this only lit my fire even more to flesh this out even more as possible, and get more out of the subject. And I think I'm not hearing a stigma. I mean, I'm not hearing the negativity. I'm not hearing the stuff. I'm hearing two people speaking their truth. Two people wanting to be who they are rather than being frustrated, living a life that that basically society wants them to live. You know what I mean? And like I said, I keep going back to that person. I feel so bad for someone that would live their whole life actually with these kinds of feelings inside of themselves and sacrificing who they are in order to kind of fit society's kind of conceptions or misconceptions. So I appreciate that. So Hits, do you have anything you want to say before I take us out?
Yeah, actually, it was a pleasure meeting you, Mari. I appreciate you both for sharing your personal story. There's very personal information, and anytime we as brothers, sisters, family, community, friends can understand each other better, it helps us navigate, the world easier. And everyone deserves to feel comfortable in their skin and expressing themselves without being, looked at in a negative way. And I think you both changed a lot of minds, or you will change a lot of minds. You changed my mind.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
I need to get you a sub. It'll change your life.
I do. I get subs all the time. Jersey Mikes, Blimpies.
Hold on, let me
got good subs.
let me yell upstairs and ask my wife
Hey,
if
man, I'm actually really happy, man. I think this was a great show. The energy was good.
Definitely.
I'm actually really surprised, Brad, that you had enough interest to be able to generate such good questions that that took that was thought provoking, man. It took both of us maybe in places that we weren't necessarily expecting to actually kind of go to, and I think it was super fire, bro. Super fire.
It's super fire, and it's always, to me, there's always a beginning. Nothing is infinite, so there's a beginning, and I think it's a good start to what it is that we're trying to do. And then too, like I said, it's kind of like putting a human face and putting human emotions to something that people go through every day. Like I told you, Logic, people are going to, I guarantee you this will be the highest view show. I guarantee you that this will be the show that gets the most comments, right? For now, right? And I guarantee you when y'all start fleshing this out and doing more shows, this will take on a life of its own. And what that proves to me is that no matter what anybody says publicly about the topic or about even us doing it, right? Or y'all have, or us doing the interview, y'all participating with us privately, this is something that a lot of people are interested in. It's just that they're stuck in kind of the society's
Yeah, man.
handcuffs, right? They're stuck in those handcuffs.
Social norms got you handcuffed.
Social norms got you handcuffed. So
sure.
I appreciate y'all. I appreciate everybody that came out. I appreciate your time. This is just the beginning on this particular topic. Be on the lookout for the DQ podcast, DQ radio on Friday nights or Saturday. I don't know which one it is. We're going to do another AI show on Monday. I mean, on Sunday. Was it Sunday? Yeah, Sunday in the afternoon. Real quick, just covering new AI topics and technology. And then Monday morning, that starts the actual T.M.I podcast hosted by me, where we're just going to get over get involved with the topics, 4 or 5 topics, go for about an hour or two, get some consistency on the show, get into the algorithm. And then next week, be on the lookout for the Money, Wine, and BDSM podcast with Logic, the DQ podcast. I mean, we got a lot of media going on. It's Tri Media. I appreciate everybody in your time. And once again, this is sponsored by KUSHCUMBERS, and I'll take us out. Y'all have a good one.
Player made, system water bottles and Gatorade. Got it. A lot of people want me to fade away. Dedicated, keep my game sharp as a razor blade. Day to day, with my gold teeth in the paper fade. Player made, system water bottles and Gatorade. Got it. A lot of people want me to fade away. Dedicated, keep my game sharp as a razor blade. Day to day, with my gold teeth.
As I'm rolling this blunt up, I sit and think about the come up. Hit your chick with that lumber, she somewhere deep in the slumber. I ain't Stevie, no wonder. I had a pocket list. When you pimp, it's a hit or miss. Vernacular snapping, she breaking bridges to get a kiss. Look what done happened, her nosy friend and got in a mix. She know I'm a hitter too. If she tell him, I plead the fifth.
Player made, system water bottles and Gatorade. Got it. A lot of people want me to fade away. Dedicated, keep my game sharp as a razor blade. Day to day, with my gold teeth in the paper fade. Player made, system water bottles and Gatorade.